So the couple of special topics that we dealt with in Chapter 12 were, first of all, absolute um, dependent motion, of two particles. And as you know, I call these pulley problems. Basically, this is where we're beginning to move from one particle into multiple. This absolute dependent motion went along with them being connected by a rope. They move in lockstep, and we work with the assumption that the rope doesn't stretch. The key thing to solving these problems was to follow the three steps we outlined. All datums defined relative to stationary points. After you've done that, you're going to write one or more, depending on how many lengths of rope you care about. Write total length of rope equations. And lastly, take time derivatives of these equations. We also looked at one particle, but from multiple vantage points. We looked at relative motion, where these multiple vantage points did have one nice thing, and that was that the coordinate systems were aligned with each other even though they were displaced. So critical to understanding what we did is that we were using translating axes, not rotating axes. Your book does cover that case. It's quite complicated and beyond the scope of this class, but if you are interested, have a look. So the key thing here was we've got two reference frames. Let's call the origins of those two frames. One we'll treat as the stationary one, the other as the one that we think of as moving. And lastly, we've got a particle somewhere, and let's say that it's at point B. So the key thing in all of this is to draw the vectors that connect the points together. So that would be a vector going from O to A. So here's that vector here. Let's call that one R sub A. A vector going from O to B. R sub B. And lastly, one that connects the other two particles. Now, again, you have to be careful that you're clear on the semantics. A to B is B relative to A. B to A is A relative to B. So this vector here would be RB with respect to A. So be clear connecting the vector to the phrase to the symbols that we have used in class. Okay, so that's the end of Chapter 12. In the next video, I will give a quick overview of Chapter 13.